Catherine entered the private trustees' chamber, expecting a routine discussion about Highgrove's future. Instead, a sealed document bearing Diana's personal instructions was placed directly before her. Within minutes, the Princess of Wales learned that her late mother-in-law had secretly created a protective arrangement to preserve the estate for William. Catherine did not celebrate. She lowered the pages, fought back tears, and realized Diana had acted because she believed her son's inheritance was already in danger. Before we go deeper into what this really means for the royal family, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss a single update. The closed door changed everything. Catherine and William had been summoned by royal trustees to discuss an unresolved restriction attached to Highgrove residence, tied to Charles and his son's childhood memories. Royal trustees are guardians who oversee protected property and family instructions. When private wishes collide with institutional control, no aides were present. Only the prince, his wife, and 3 people carrying Diana's secret could hear what followed. Sir Jonathan Mercer pushed the first page toward Catherine. Through a documented trustee account, he explained that Diana had signed a sealed Highgrove protection instrument, direction preserving the estate's residential legacy and family spaces for William's future stewardship. In plain terms, those rooms, gardens, and memories could not be reassigned to another royal household without activating her safeguards. Catherine read the page twice. Her fingertips stopped over Diana's signature, and the pain on her face revealed what the words had done. William did not move. The future king sat rigid, as Sir Jonathan confirmed that his mother had created the protection, specifically for him. He had spent years believing grief was the final thing Diana left behind. Now she had also left a shield. Catherine looked toward her husband and saw a son receiving his mother's protection almost 3 decades too late. That devastated her, not the estate, the fear Diana must have carried while arranging it. Another trustee broke the silence by opening a second envelope. Inside lay a letter preserved in the trustee file. Diana wrote that Highgrove was never merely property to William. It was one of the few places where he had known safety while his parents' marriage collapsed. She feared that changing its control would erase proof that he had once belonged there. Catherine lifted her eyes. Sir Jonathan admitted the instrument could remain hidden only until someone attempted to alter Highgrove's succession, household control, or symbolic ownership. She asked what had happened to awaken it. No one answered. The answer would transform Diana's gesture from a tender maternal safeguard into evidence of a royal struggle already unfolding behind closed doors. To the outside world, Highgrove represented gardens, tradition, and royal elegance. To William, it carried the memories of a childhood divided between affection and conflict. Catherine had always understood that the estate mattered to him. She had never known Diana had quietly attached her final protection to it. As William began describing what Highgrove had meant during his parents' separation, Catherine realized the trustees had uncovered not merely a legal arrangement, but a mother's unfinished promise. Silence settled after the trustees stepped outside. William moved toward the window, seeming less like a future king than a son returned to childhood. Highgrove had given him ordinary moments, muddy shoes, breakfasts, jokes, and afternoons when royal duty loosened its grip. That mattered because his parents' marriage was collapsing, while the institution expected him to remain composed. William spoke without turning. He remembered Diana telling him that the gardens would still know his name, even when the adults around him had changed everything else. Catherine reached for his hand, but he pulled away. The gesture was not rejection, it was survival. For years, the prince had controlled every conversation about his mother by revealing only what he could bear. Now the sealed instrument forced the grief open. A protection instrument was a legal direction preventing property or family spaces from being reassigned against its creator's wishes. Catherine waited until his breathing steadied. As his wife, she carried more than sympathy. She was becoming the future guardian of the memories their children would inherit. George, Charlotte, and Louis knew Diana through stories, photographs, and the tenderness in their father's voice. Highgrove could give those stories roots. It could show them where William had felt safe, and why their grandmother fought to preserve that safety. William faced her and confessed something he had never spoken aloud. During a private conversation at Highgrove, Diana made him promise that the estate would never become a trophy in someone else's Myers campaign for royal status. He had dismissed the warning as reassurance from a frightened mother. The document proved she had meant every word. Catherine looked down again and found her own place inside Diana's plan. Pages protected William, his future spouse, and his children. The woman she had never met had prepared a defense for the family he had not yet built. Trustees returned carrying another file. Their chairman disclosed through the documented meeting record that a senior royal had requested authority to reorganize Highgrove's private rooms. That request had awakened Diana's safeguard. Before Catherine could understand who had challenged those wishes, she first had to learn what preethant had driven the late princess to create such an extraordinary defense. The protection of Highgrove did not begin with a lawyer, a trustee, or a formal royal decree. It began during one bitter conversation in 1996, when Diana learned that the estate's private family quarters could eventually be reorganized for a different household. Those words struck her with terrifying clarity. She believed William might one day return to the place, carrying his childhood memories, only to discover that every trace of his mother had been removed. The following morning, Diana took action. Diana felt the walls closing in before anyone signed a document. Her separation from Charles had turned private life into a division of rooms, photographs, possessions, and family traditions. Highgrove mattered because it was not simply another royal residence. A royal residence is a home used by the sovereign or senior family members, but its official status also allows administrators to reshape how it serves the monarchy. Diana feared that process could leave William wealthy, titled, and emotionally homeless. Charles met her in the garden without aids. According to the account preserved in the trustees' file, he told Diana that Highgrove's private quarters might eventually be redesigned around the needs of a future royal household. He presented the idea as distant planning. She heard something colder. She heard that William could one day return to the place where he had found comfort and be treated like a guest. Diana answered immediately. She told Charles that their son must never be forced to ask permission to enter the rooms that had held his childhood. He called the fear premature and urged her not to turn a future possibility into a present battle. She left unconvinced. The prince had offered reassurance, but the mother understood how easily reassurance vanished when royal priorities changed. Morning brought resolve. Diana summoned 2 trustees and a private solicitor to Kensington Palace, her London residence. A solicitor is a lawyer who prepares agreements and gives private legal advice. She placed a handwritten list before them, naming bedrooms, gardens, archives, photographs, and personal objects that must remain connected to William. The trustees recorded her instructions. The solicitor shaped them into binding protection. Diana demanded secrecy. She ordered the agreement sealed unless anyone attempted to transfer symbolic or residential away from her eldest son. She wanted protection without retaliation, and she believed silence would give the safeguard time to survive. Decades later, the exact trigger had occurred. A request to reorganize Highgrove had awakened her document and pointed toward Clarence House, the King's London residence. What had begun as Diana's private fear was about to become Catherine's public burden, because someone had finally attempted the very change the late princess had anticipated. Catherine did not raise her voice when she entered Charles's private sitting room. That made the confrontation more dangerous. She carried Diana's letter in both hands, while William remained beside her with a silence colder than anger. Charles immediately recognized the trustee's seal. Before anyone sat down, Catherine asked why a proposal had been made to alter Highgrove's private household arrangements without consulting William. The king looked toward his son, then back at the pages, knowing Diana's hidden warning had finally entered the room. Catherine placed the letter on the table between them. Trustees' documented briefing had confirmed that Charles approved a preliminary household review, examining whether several private rooms at Highgrove could be renovated, reassigned, or absorbed into a wider royal residential structure. The Household Review is an official assessment of how royal rooms and staff should be organized. Officials had called it practical planning. Diana's protection treated it as a direct threat to William's control. Charles kept his hands still. Catherine told him his former wife had anticipated this exact moment and feared their sons' memories would one day be reduced to administrative inconvenience. She did not accuse him of stealing an estate. She accused the monarchy of forgetting what the estate meant. Highgrove carried William's childhood, and altering its private spaces without him risked making the future king feel displaced inside his own history. Charles answered that he never intended to dispossess William. The monarch said the review concerned long-term order, not personal rejection. William finally broke his silence. He asked why officials were allowed to discuss his childhood home before anyone asked what it meant to him. His voice remained controlled, but the question landed harder than anger. Charles looked toward Diana's letter. Through the recorded account of the meeting, he admitted that advisors had encouraged the review to clarify Camilla's long-term residential position and prevent competing claims after another transition of reign. A transition of reign is the period when the crown passes to the next monarch and royal homes. Duties and authority are reorganized. That explanation did not calm the room. It sharpened it. Catherine asked whether Camilla knew that rooms linked to Diana were included. Charles hesitated. Only for a moment. Yet William saw the answer inside that pause, and the wound deepened. Charles understood then that silence could no longer protect anyone involved. William closed the letter and placed it before his father. No decision would proceed, he said, until every person behind the proposal was identified. Stopping the review required more than anger, because authority over Highgrove was divided among the crown, the trustees, and a protection Diana had designed to outlast them all. The royal family could argue over memories, intentions, and wounded loyalties. The trustees possessed something stronger than emotion: Diana's binding instructions. In a second closed session, the chairman placed 3 keys on the table, each representing a different layer of authority over Highgrove. Charles held royal influence. William carried the future. Yet Diana had ensured that neither sentiment nor rank could erase her conditions. For the first time, Catherine understood how carefully the late princess had prepared for resistance. Sir Jonathan Mercer touched the first key and spoke from the documented trustee record. Charles retained present authority as monarch. The trustees carried a legal duty to enforce the protection instrument, meaning the sealed instructions that prevented Diana's conditions from being ignored. William held designated future stewardship, the right to guide Highgrove when responsibility passed to him. 3 forms of control, 1 estate, and no single person could act alone. Sir Jonathan did not speak like a distant official. He had known Diana and remembered her arriving at the 1996 meeting, shaken, exhausted, and fiercely certain. Chairman told Catherine that the late princess refused to sign until William's last future spouse was protected from being treated as an outsider. Catherine lowered her head. Diana had made space for her before either woman knew the other's name. Charles read the clause again. He objected quietly that his former wife had tried to control royal decisions far beyond her lifetime. Sir Jonathan met the king's frustration without retreat. Diana had not attempted to control the crown, he answered. She had protected her son from the crown's capacity to forget what private pain had made sacred. The ruling came next. Sir Jonathan confirmed through the written decision that the Household Review violated the instrument because it included Diana's former rooms, William's childhood quarters, and a private garden named as part of his emotional inheritance. That mattered because changing those spaces would not merely renovate a residence, it would weaken the physical link between the prince, his mother, and the childhood their family could never recover. William watched as the trustees froze every proposed change. Consultation authority passed to him immediately. No room, archive, garden, photograph, or family object could be reassigned without his written consent. Charles said nothing, but the monarch understood that influence had reached its limit. Catherine turned to the final page. The most aggressive recommendations carried one name beside their amendments: Camilla. Her changes had reached beyond planning. and struck the heart of Diana's warning. The legal battle had been decided in a single afternoon, yet the emotional consequences were only beginning as Catherine prepared to face the woman whose amendments had awakened Diana's defense. Camilla received the trustees' ruling alone. An aide entered, placed the decision beside her tea, and left without offering the usual explanation. The first page froze every proposed change at Highgrove. The second transferred consultation authority to William. The third contained the sentence that struck hardest. Diana's protections remained fully enforceable. Camilla slowly removed her glasses and stared toward the closed door. A plan presented as orderly household management had now made her appear to be challenging a dead mother's final promise. Camilla read the amendments again and understood how exposed she had become. Her proposals would have converted several private areas into spaces serving a permanent consort household, meaning rooms and staff reserved for the monarch's spouse. Some of those rooms still carried Diana's history. Others belonged to William's childhood. Queen Consort had wanted certainty about her future. She had underestimated how fiercely memory could resist administrative order. Camilla summoned Charles and pushed the ruling toward him. She demanded to know whether he would challenge the trustees. King set the pages flat and answered that he would not begin a constitutional dispute over rooms Diana had protected for their son. Constitutional dispute would pull royal authority, legal duty, and succession into open conflict. Charles knew such a battle could damage William and expose the monarchy's private wounds. Camilla's restraint cracked. She told Charles that she had spent years being measured against a woman who was no longer alive, judged against memories she could never answer, and promises she had never made. He listened, but did not retreat. This was not a contest between two wives, the monarch said. It was about what William had been promised when he was still a frightened child. The next page cut deeper. Catherine had been named beside William as an authorized guardian of Highgrove. This protected family spaces. That role gave the princess a direct voice over every room, garden, archive, and object covered by Diana's instructions. Camilla realized the future had been placed in Catherine's hands, while her own amendments were being erased. Charles signed the withdrawal order. He instructed officials to remove Camilla's proposals from every active planning document. She watched his pen stop, but made no attempt to block him. In that silence, humiliation became acceptance, and acceptance felt almost like defeat before the future could move forward. That evening, William asked Catherine to return to Highgrove alone. He needed to make a decision neither the trustees nor the king could make. With the institutional struggle settled, the story returned to its most human center. The son entering the place his mother had protected and deciding what her final act should mean. No trustees accompanied William and Catherine when they returned to Highgrove. No aides followed them through the private corridor. William carried a single key to a small sitting room that had remained largely unchanged under Diana's instructions. For several seconds, he could not place it in the lock. Catherine stood beside him without speaking. When the door finally opened, William did not see an inheritance waiting to be claimed. He saw evidence that his mother had expected him to come back. William crossed the threshold slowly. This was the first time he had entered the protected rooms, knowing Diana had preserved them for self. The family he would one day build. Protected rooms were private spaces, covered by her legal instructions, preventing their history from being erased through renovation or reassignment. That protection mattered, because Highgrove held more than royal property. It held the ordinary pieces of childhood that grief had made priceless. Small details carried the greatest force. The writing desk remained near shelves of gardening books. A faded family photograph rested beside marks recording William's childhood height. Nothing glittered. Nothing demanded attention. Yet every object told the prince that his mother had not tried to leave him wealth. She had tried to leave him belonging. William admitted that he had avoided claiming Highgrove emotionally, because doing so felt like choosing Diana over Charles. Catherine answered that his mother's protection had never asked him to reject his father. It had only prevented the monarchy's future from erasing the boy he had once been. Her words reached him, but another truth remained. Catherine finally confessed why the letter had devastated her. Diana had imagined a future daughter-in-law, written protection for her, and trusted a woman she would never meet to guard William's memories. Catherine had entered royal life fearing comparison. Now she understood that the late princess had left her not a contest, but a responsibility. William lowered his head and wept. Final message waited inside the desk. According to the handwritten note, preserved outside the formal instrument, Diana asked her son to make Highgrove safe for his children, not turn it into a monument where everyone remained trapped in sorrow. William made his decision. He would protect the estate's emotional heart without freezing every room in time. Catherine, George, Charlotte, and Louis would create new memories there. For once, the future felt less like succession and more like a homecoming for them both. Trustees would announce his permanent stewardship the next morning. Diana's secret had finally given William peace, but once the ruling escaped the palace walls, the world transformed a private act of maternal love into a national judgment on the monarchy. By sunrise, Diana's hidden protection dominated every royal broadcast. Newspapers called it a final intervention from beyond the grave. Commentators debated whether she had protected William from genuine danger or simply understood the institution better than anyone around her. Yet the moment that captured public feeling was not a headline. It was a silent gathering outside Highgrove, where mothers began placing white roses beside the gates. One for Diana, one for William, and one for the family she had never lived to see. The trustees released their statement before breakfast. It confirmed that Diana's private protection had been activated, and that William now held decisive authority over Highgrove's protected family legacy. Decisive authority meant that no covered room, archive, garden, or personal object could be altered without his approval. The announcement mattered because it transformed a hidden maternal safeguard into an acknowledged limit on royal power. Buckingham Palace answered within the hour. The palace, which serves as the monarchy's central administrative headquarters, issued a brief response, accepting the ruling without challenge. Charles added through the recorded statement that he respected the trustees' decision and his son's future stewardship. The king's restraint prevented an open institutional crisis, but it could not stop the public from deciding who had won. Catherine watched the coverage beside William at Highgrove. Broadcasters began describing her as Diana's victorious replacement, language that made her visibly uneasy. She told the prince she would not benefit from a story that turned two women into rivals. Diana had protected a future family. Catherine believed honoring that choice meant refusing to use it against the woman who had imagined her. William's anger rose for a different reason. Newspapers reduced his mother's promise to a weapon against Charles and Camilla. He insisted that Diana had preserved a sanctuary, not created an instrument of humiliation. The future king knew that triumph would become poison if Highgrove was remembered only as the Grove, where one side defeated another. One front page captured the intensity. The Morning Standard printed Diana's handwritten signature above a photograph of William entering Highgrove, beneath the words, "Her final shield." Outside the gates, a young mother lifted her child above a widening line of white roses. The crowd fell silent, and that single gesture came to represent a mother protecting a son who was now protecting his own children. William could no longer allow others to define the meaning. He began preparing a final statement that would settle Highgrove's future in his own words. Catherine understood that every word would carry consequences. The nation had delivered its emotional verdict, but only William could prevent Diana's protection from becoming another permanent division inside the royal family. William's final decision did not punish Charles, exile Camilla, or turn Highgrove into a shrine. Instead, he stood beside Catherine in the room Diana had preserved and declared that the estate would remain a living family home. Its protected spaces would honor the past, but its doors would open to George, Charlotte, and Louis. In that choice, William transformed his mother's secret defense into something larger than inheritance. Diana had protected Highgrove from erasure. Her son would protect it from bitterness. William confirmed, through his recorded statement, that he accepted permanent stewardship of Highgrove under Diana's protection instrument. Permanent stewardship meant responsibility for preserving the estate's protected family legacy. Yet the prince also acknowledged Charles's history there. His father would never be erased from the home he had shaped. Catherine accepted her place as co-guardian of the protected rooms. She did not claim Diana's position or present herself as a replacement. Instead, the princess understood that she had been trusted to carry another woman's intention forward and ensure George, Charlotte, and Louis inherited belonging rather than resentment. William met Charles before the announcement. He told the king that he did not believe his father had intended to take Highgrove away. Charles admitted that failing to consult his son had reopened deep wounds. The monarch then apologized for treating an emotionally sacred place as a matter of household administration. William accepted the apology, but he set one condition: no future decision about Highgrove would be made without Catherine and their children being considered. Charles agreed. For the first time, father and son spoke not as monarch and heir, but as two men, accepting the damage silence had caused. Camilla's amendments were permanently withdrawn. She accepted through the signed household record that Diana's protected rooms would remain under William and Catherine's authority. Queen Consort offered no further challenge, ending the struggle without another confrontation. Catherine placed Diana's handwritten message inside a protected family archive, a secure collection, preserving private documents for future generations. The formal instrument remained active, but its meaning had changed. Diana's true gift was not control over property, it was protection from displacement. Highgrove became proof that her deepest fear had failed. William was not erased. Catherine was not excluded. Her children inherited a sanctuary instead of a feud. A sealed document had entered the trustees' chamber as evidence of Diana's fear, but it left Highgrove as the fulfillment of her hope. William was home. His family was protected, and the promise she made in silence had finally been honored. Thanks for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and we will see you in next one.